Welcome to Decker Tech. I'm Aaron Decker, and today we're doing a Cornelius starting guide, specifically the support Cornelius. It looks a little like the self-burn at the start, but it's really the support deck because, I mean, Cornelius' starting deck is just a little self-burn anyway. But we'll talk about some options you can do if you want to avoid the starting self-burn stuff. As, of course, on Madness 16, I took the... in the divinations, I just went and took the shards, so you'll be able to get a better than this because you'll be able to pick some cards that I didn't pick up, kind of shuffle some shards around, and you'll have a better results than what you see here. So this is the bare minimum, and this should get you all the way through to the end of the game, and we'll get straight into it. So the goal of a support Cornelius is Scrolls of Intellect. So what you can do is you'll eventually get these to the blue. I can't afford them now, but if you go to the hatch with Cornelius, you can get a free upgrade at the altar. So you can upgrade one of them for free to this blue one, and you're looking to get, honestly, like 3 or 4 of these blue Scrolls of Intellect. Sometimes I'll even go like, yeah, probably 3, 4 blue ones. Because what you're going to do is you're going to feed this to your damage dealer, whether that be, you know, Reggie, Thules, Maluka. I don't, you know, pick your poison there, but his goal here is to get a lot of Scrolls of Intellect. His final deck is just passing, energize, and inspire to the team, and at the same time applying some burn. So the way you're going to be applying the burn is early on you can run these inner combustions, but your final form is going to involve Ember Storm, the Vanishing kind, and then you're going to have Scorching Ray, which unfortunately I can't show here, but you'll do Scorching Ray and then Combustion as the finisher. And you're just going to go through your goal is to spend all your energy on either stacking burn or using combustion to ignite the burn, like to, do a lot of damage with it. And then you're going to use all the rest of your cards to just create this inspire and energize. I can't tout freaking Scroll of Intellect enough. It is the main goal for Cornelius here is just blue Scrolls of Intellect. It's fantastic. Starting deck-wise, though, we took out most of the cards. Yes. What you're going to do is you're going to keep some of these damage cards because you're going to... if you're doing the self-burn part at the beginning, you can keep these inner combustions. If you're going away from that, Searing Touch and Flare are perfectly fine. He's very valid because your early deck's not consistent enough to really draw enough of these inner combustions to monopolize on the self-burn fast enough. Especially if your team is casting like Healing Rains or Dispelling Burn somehow. So these are just kind of like placeholder cards. They're a little worse than Searing Touch if you have no burn, but they kind of scale really well once you do have burn, right? So it's just kind of a hit or miss on whether or not which one's going to be better. Inner Combustion can hit any target, and Searing Touch is only front monster. So you're just going to keep a couple of these burn cards to begin with as your damage, but you're going to fill in a lot of your other slots with the support stuff. So for Cornelius, you'll want Insulate in some form, either Elemental Ward or the Prismatic Field. I went with Elemental Ward, kind of a talking point. I think you can get away with 3 Elemental Wards. 2 is kind of risking it. 3 would be ideal, and 4 is perfectly is great. But you will want Insulate for the tree fight, for the Dryads, and if you're going into the hatch for sure. And then also if you're going to the fire biome, these Insulates will serve you very well there. I lied. Any Act 2 and 3 Insulates, you're going to keep Insulate until Act 2 and 3. The reason I'm doing the Elemental Ward version is because they're 0-cost Vanish, and Cornelius' starting deck is kind of questionable. And I just wanted to fill in a lot of this cheap stuff to kind of thin his deck down. If you feel like going Prismatic Field, that is a very viable option. I used to go that the majority of the time. I'm kind of leaning towards the Elemental Ward just because I feel safe enough getting away with less Insulate on my team because there are boons and sometimes characters that have Insulate stapled to them, right? So enough about that. Let's see. Ice Lances, these are just a solid damage card, especially against anyone that has low frost resist, which are people in the hatch. The 5 chill does mean that it will slow them by 1, so you can kind of manipulate the turn order a bit here, since we've lost a lot of speed manipulation on mages. The best speed manipulation for them right now is Curse of Exhaustion, which is why it's here. The warriors will tend to kind of overlap with you on the slow, but the purging fast is where you really come in. Also, it's 12 shadow damage, right? So it's legit. I mean, it's a decent damage card, and it has a lot of speed manipulation to it. So that's why we like to add it to the deck. I can afford two of the Ember Storms just because I didn't have enough shards. This is a really good go-to. You can kind of manipulate whether this is the vanished version or the non-vanished version, depending on what your other cards look like. Like I said, Ember Storms will get me through most of the game until I can afford a Scorching Ray and Combustion, and then eventually it'll just be Scorching Ray and Combustion, and then just all my books, right? But Ember Storm is a good filler card for Vanish or hand filler if you need a non-Vanish version. It's just, both versions are great. It's just a very fantastic card, especially with Cornelius and how he interacts with Burn later on as he levels up. Fiery Shield, if you keep it as long as you're keeping the self-burn and the combustions, but as soon as you're getting rid of these, you're getting rid of Fiery Shield as well, just because this does not scale well without self-burn attached to it. It is a very good card though, but I'd probably cut it after I cut the inner combustions, but once you start cutting these, you're going to cut that as well. They're just kind of tied together. Cauterize, this is good for either the self-burn version or the non-self-burn version of the support. This will just get you through Act 1 very well, because dispelling bleed is very important in Act 1. And it's also a heal. So even though you're applying 5 burn, the heal part is fantastic. If you're running a Grookly, you're going to want to run the blue version so you can keep doing it. If you really aren't self-burning but you still want to run it and you have extra shards, you can just run the blue version just in general, just because it doesn't have the downside of burning people. But let's be honest, burning people is fun. in video games, not in real life. And Cornelius is a bit of a firebug, right? I don't really see a world in which we're running the yellow Cauterize. What'd I miss? Bam, bam. Bam, bam. Like I said, if I had more shards, these would be upgraded already. I plan on going to the hatch, so I'd probably leave one upgraded just for efficiency's sake. And if I had more shards and the option to craft them, like more shards, I would just do more Ember Storms. If I had access to rares, I would do Scorching Ray and Combustion. Yeah, that's basically Cornelius' cards. Let's look at his talents and stuff. So when we're playing Support Cornelius, we're just relying on 1 or 2 efficient fire spells to stack burn on our targets. This is usually paired with some sort of DPS healer that can use Holy Fire or DPS healer or mage to do Holy Fire as their, or Combustion as their big damage spell. So we want to get as much burn as possible. So to do that, Hell Flame is our go-to here. Just more burn charges faster. The goal is to get max stacks on our opponents as quick as possible. Same thing with Incendiary. We don't have enough fire cards to do Firestarter. If we do have enough cards to do Firestarter, then we're not really playing Support Cornelius. So if you want to do the self-burn Cornelius and take it very far, I'd recommend watching my other video that says, hey, this is self-burn Cornelius. But if you're playing Support Cornelius, you're really only casting 1 or 2 burn fire cards a turn, and you're not going to get max energy out of this, in which case you're going to want Incendiary, because Scorching Ray scales really well with this, and also the Ember Storms. Like, you will be amazed at how much burn you can get from Incendiary if you're doing Ember Storms and Scorching Ray. And then, of course, World in Flames is our go-to here because free Ember Storms. The version of this World in Flames might be different than yours because I see this changing in the near future, but it's just basically, it's going to always be more fire, right? So you just want more burning. And we don't care about fire damage, we care about burning stacks. And then, of course, more burning stacks. So you're just coming down this left side saying, I would like to set the world on fire so that it slowly burns and or maybe sets up for your damage. And I am awesome like that. Equipment-wise, even if you're going support version, if you're running the early game self-burn version, the pipe is really nice on Cornelius. But like I said, you're eventually going to step away from that as a support. So you'll eventually cut that out. So don't worry too much about it. The pipe is not required for this build. Eventually what you're going to want is the fountain pen, or even just I think there's a quill pen or something. The best one is a fountain pen because that says basically, inspire +1 to everyone and draw a card yourself. That's draw 5 cards for an item, like every turn. It's fantastic. The only things better than it is like the straw hat and the, you know, the ultimate treasure in the game kind of stuff. So fountain pen, it's a big deal. I'm gonna say it one more time. Fountain pen. it's really a big deal. And then everything else, he's not really particular about what he does. You can use all these other slots to kind of help buff the team. Early on, the war banner is kind of fun to just give your team powerful because mages benefit from that really well. Like they have the perks to make it better. Yeah, that's about all I got for you. Fountain pen and nothing else. Like that, he would be fine without that. Like, yeah. Must I say more? So like I said, we're trying to get as many scrolls of intellect as possible, and eventually you're going to get a tome of knowledge, and you're going to get the yellow one. The one that gives 1 scroll to everyone, because even though it gives 1 scroll to everyone, it also gives 1 inspired to everyone, and then everyone can just funnel those scrolls to who needs them, because Scroll of Intellect, fantastic card, let me tell you. Anyway, that's all I got. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will catch you later. Peace.